What is happening there, Reject Nation? Greg and John here to watch today from Charlie over at Emergency Awesome. Doctor Strange 2, WandaVision, deleted scene and alternate ending explained Marvel Phase 4. Clearly there's something I missed. Clearly there's something on social media that I have not caught. So I'm like, all right, let's watch this and see what it's all about. Damn, like I saw the title. I'm gonna watch this.
Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be my new Doctor Strange 2 video. They just revealed a whole bunch of deleted scenes from WandaVision that we're going to feature Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, teasing the movie. So we'll break it all down. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs confirming a bunch of big theories, a bunch of scenes they basically deleted at the last minute. It was originally a much bigger part of the plot of all the episodes than we ever believed. And some of the weirder, more confusing aspects of the show make a lot more sense when you hear what he was doing in each of the episodes. If you're brand new to the channel, we're doing videos for all the Marvel Phase 4 Disney Plus series. Be sure to subscribe to get all those
Very
episodes.
Curious to see if I believe this.
The next big one. So careful for spoilers for everything that happened on the WandaVision episodes if you haven't seen those yet. But I'll just start at the beginning here and just number these as we go along just to stay organized. But you probably saw this week it was revealed that Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange storyline during WandaVision started with all of the commercials, those weird fake commercials that you saw in most of the episodes. So what was supposed to happen is that prior to the events of episode 1, right after Wanda broke down and created the Hex without really realizing what she was doing, just letting herself be overwhelmed with her grief and loneliness, after kind of being pushed there over the edge by Tyler Hayward and Sword. The really dark twist on that is that we actually found out that he was doing that on purpose, trying to get her to use her magic to bring Vision back to life, so to speak, reactivate him. That was why some of his dialogue sounded so weird, like he'd been developing a working theory that she could somehow reactivate Vision's dead body. They've been trying to reactivate Vision's body through that whole 5-year time gap between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. But he successfully pushes her into that full mental breakdown. She creates the Hex, and the event is so extreme in magnitude that it sets off pretty much every single magical alarm that Doctor Strange has around the Earth, helping him monitor magical cosmic threats from other dimensions, because as he told Iron Man when they had their big bro-off moment, his #1 job is protecting the main MCU reality.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Something's blowing your mind that I'm not understanding, so please enlighten me.
So is is the implication that the commercials
are like
a way of like sending a signal to Doctor Strange? Is that what because you mentioned the commercials. They started hopping on to Hayward and saying that Hayward was supposed to
explaining the plot of the show from Hayward.
But then saying that Hayward intentionally wanted Wanda to resurrect Vision. Yeah. Right, as we suspected, and they don't make that clear 100%. It's more of like a theory left kind of open in the show. He didn't make that clear. It just sounded like a implication.
Maybe there's more to come, though. Maybe. I
don't know. The countdown from 5, 4, 3. I'm like, did I miss something?
Yeah, exactly.
He also kind of referenced that when he was talking about Loki with Thor earlier. Your brother is on the list. So, of course, Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, would sense when Wanda created the Hex. She was also doing it in New Jersey, just one state over, which isn't that far away from the Sanctum in New York City. So right after this moment, the Hex goes up and Wanda drives into Westview during the opening scene of episode 1 with the fake version of Vision she created, Hex Vision, in the 1950s with everything all black and white. And while that's happening, Doctor Strange is not able to portal into the Hex, just to snap his fingers and dispel the magic, make everything go away, because of the way Wanda's chaos magic works. And Scarlet Witch has just gone full-blown comic book Scarlet Witch too. Like Agatha Harkness said, you are the Scarlet Witch. They explained during episode 1 in those flashbacks that she was actually born with chaos magic, and the way they clarified chaos magic is that it's magic without a cost, and it also gives her the ability to weave spells, weave magic without incantations. So she doesn't need to learn a spell out of a book the same way Doctor Strange has to learn, like he has to read a book to learn how to do something before he can do it. That's why little girl Scarlet Witch here is able to stop Iron Man's Stark Tech bomb from exploding by throwing up a probability spell before she ever thought about studying magic.
Okay.
I did a video earlier this year about why that happened. So in the comics, Scarlet Witch, when she was born, was actually imbued with chaos magic by Chthon, the god of chaos. So that's why she's born with this crazy OP level of power. When she came into contact with a Mind Stone, it just amplified her power off the charts. So she always had access to chaos magic. It's just that after the Infinity Stone encounter, it was like the stream inside her turned into this raging river, taking her power off the charts.
Nos.
And that's where you get to that prophecy about her in the Darkhold, saying that she's supposed to be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. The Darkhold was also written by Chthon, the god of chaos. So that's why Doctor Strange wasn't immediately able to portal into the Hex and stop everything on a dime. The Hex would not let him in. The magic was too powerful.
I mean, this is all making a lot of sense because the first parts of this video was like, well, yeah, I mean, you reminded me of Doctor Strange so much, and I'm like, it does make you go, why didn't you think he'd show up or something like this, right?
I think it would set off all the magical alarms in the Sanctum Sanctorum.
And it's interesting to think that they actually had like all this plot stuff mapped out for why he couldn't go in there just yet. So they did think that through.
So we were gonna cut away a bunch of times to him being like, "Why can't I?"
Just him going,
"Come
"Damn it!"
on! Jeez, Sorcerer Supreme.
So Doctor Strange's workaround for this during the series was to try and communicate with Wanda, send her subliminal messages to try and get her to realize what was happening and snap out of it. Doctor Strange was supposed to be the person creating the fake commercials that we were watching. The first one in episode 1 was the
he was
Star Trek
creating
toaster,
them.
which was
That's
meant
cool.
to represent the bomb that killed her parents. That's why you hear the arc reactor sounds and the same ticking sound that the bomb makes in the flashback scene from episode 8. It's also the reason why the same people appear in all the commercials. The second one was for the Strucker watch, Baron von Strucker, the experiments he did on them with the Mind Stone. Strucker will make time for you. The third one was the Hydra Soak commercial with the Tesseract-shaped soap, and it was a huge metaphor for Wanda avoiding her problems, Calgon style. Calgon, take me away from all my problems into a fake reality that I created for myself. The fourth one was the Legos paper towels, which was a reference to her oops, quote-unquote mess that
The
she
numbers
created
on your
during the events
editing
of
are
Captain America
confusing the
Civil
hell
War.
out of
Like
me.
the red represents the blood of the people that she killed inadvertently through
But
collateral
keep up the
damage
good work.
when she was trying to stop Crossbone's explosion. And the Yo Magic one was meant to be Doctor Strange telling Wanda about what Agatha Harkness was doing to her inside the Hex. So that also kind of reveals that Doctor Strange knew about Agatha Harkness the whole time, snacking on her magic, so to speak, until she would eventually just withered away like the other witches from her former coven. Later, you do see her arms turn gray after Agatha starts to siphon off some of her magic. In that last one, the whole Nexus commercial was Doctor Strange being way more overt about it, trying to explain to her how she was a Nexus being in the multiverse. Basically like the same everywhere, like one Wanda across the entire multiverse.
Man.
In the comics, Nexus beings are these big focal points for energy, which also sort of goes hand in hand with the idea that she's this mythical being, the Scarlet Witch. But during the commercial, there's the dialogue saying, you should not take Nexus unless your doctor has cleared you to move on with your life, and the woman picks up the Nexus pills from the doctor. That was supposed to be Doctor Strange more overtly referencing himself, like Doctor Strange is the doctor, and he's telling Wanda that he's going to help her treat her like a regular doctor, and help her learn about her chaos magic powers, and sort out this big prophecy in the Darkhold about her bringing about the end of the world. You have to remember, the reason why he's called Doctor Strange isn't because he's Sorcerer Supreme. He's called Doctor Strange because he is a medical doctor.
I would have never thought he's called Doctor Strange because he's a Sorcerer Supreme.
No, he was just Mr. Strange until he got to the Ancient One, and then, you know, after all of that, he finally got his doctorate in the mystical arts.
Okay, so in the beginning of this, I was confused because of like how fast we were going through it. That I thought it was like, oh, is she calling out to him in some subconscious way? But it's reversed. Yeah. Doctor Strange is the one, and damn, they revealed that. That is nuts.
Yeah, and that's a whole facet. That's like an onion layer of context and story to drop on it.
You can't feel bad about theorizing that he would show up then when it was built originally into their actual story. I still think it works in the context of the show of just as, it's just a subconscious commercial that plays from Wanda's mind, since that's the whole thing is this is her creation. So I love how it still works in that way as opposed to this plot device of Doctor Strange is the one giving these like mysterious commercials, and I'm like, dude, why don't you just throw yourself in the commercials? That probably would have made her life a lot easier.
Yeah, this way he's trying his best to break through, and I guess this is just how he can best achieve that. You know, through all this chaos.
Some type of abstract form of your subconscious mind.
Then what would have happened after that is that during the finale, he would have finally appeared on screen, taught her what it all meant, how chaos magic works, and how to use those runes that she uses to trap Agatha Harkness. He would have also helped her sort out what was going on with Billy and Tommy as well. Like they have that big post-credit scene tag. That was always going to be part of the series, teasing Doctor Strange 2 more overtly.
He
But
was a
according to
big
Kevin
part of
Feige,
this, apparently.
What had happened was they had signed Benedict Cumberbatch to this special contract to do the WandaVision episodes, all of his scenes, and then the virus happened. So for a number of different reasons, they had to rework a lot of the plot, and they just rewrote things and rewrote things again.
Damn.
At the last minute, when it came time to make a decision about Benedict Cumberbatch, they opted to just leave him on the cutting room floor, so to speak, and completely rewrote the finale. Also because they got rid of his scenes and he was such a big part of the plot, they had to rework and add some extra scenes in reshoots later. Like this scene where they're fighting each other and she throws the runes up around the hex, surprising Agatha Harkness. During the reshoots, they had to add that dialogue where she says, "No one taught me how to do this," because they wanted it to feel like Wanda figured this out herself instead of Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange teaching her how to do it, which was originally what was going to happen.
It's just so funny when you have, like, that was a criticism I think a lot of people had, was like, how'd she learn how to do this so quick? Are we just going to chalk it to the fact she's Scarlet Witch? Yeah. Like, it worked in the moment, but there is that part where I think one of us was even like, how'd she learn to do that so quick? And then to come to find out that, oh, it's because of having to deal with the rewrites and stuff. Dang, it's crazy. Something that to change a lot to compensate for cutting out a complete plot line that really affects the growth of this main character. That's nuts.
And it's funny to see that both Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision had to deal with some version of that, due to the pandemic and everything.
But in some ways, it still works better that the fact that Doctor Strange doesn't show up because it's not about him at all.
In some ways, I'm happier he didn't. Hearing about this, like as cool as it is now.
But it does also clear up some loose threads. Or some logical gaps.
It's like, had he really shown up, it might have undercut Wanda a little bit. But just knowing this is good because it's helping me with some of the gripes I had.
Yeah. And to know that it's not their fault from a storytelling point, that it was because of the pandemic they had to do this. Yeah, that's interesting. You get a pass, Marvel.
The post-credit scene that they have with her studying from the Darkhold, trying to learn more about chaos magic, was always going to be part of the series, and it was always going to be a direct teaser for Doctor Strange 2. Billy and Tommy were always going to be crying out to her from the multiverse, so to speak. At least that's what they're implying, like they're crying out to her from some other dimension, and she's going to go and try and find them during Doctor Strange 2. And when it came to teasing the villain of Doctor Strange 2, because everyone has theories about who that's going to wind up being, if it's going to be Chthon, the god of chaos, because it kind of seems what they're implying during the series, or if it's going to wind up being Nightmare, completely different character, or if they're even going to reference Mephisto. I do love the theory that Billy and Tommy crying out to her from the multiverse or from some other dimension is really a trick of the villain of Doctor Strange 2, trying to bait her to do something, to use her magic to bring about this prophecy that's inside the Darkhold. So essentially, Kevin Feige says they got rid of Benedict Cumberbatch's scenes because they didn't want him to undermine Wanda's character arc during the series. They were worried that if he showed up in the finale, that's all anybody would be talking about, and everyone would just completely forget about Wanda's character arc. And Kevin Feige said that he didn't want WandaVision as a series just to feel like it was a glorified teaser for Doctor Strange 2. So it sounds like originally they had planned for way more Doctor Strange 2 crossover scenes and Easter eggs throughout all the different episodes. It confirms a lot of theories because there were various points during the series where it felt like they were trying to reference Doctor Strange 2 or Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange in some way.
Yeah, there's something refreshing about hearing that Kevin Feige was like, we don't want to undermine Wanda.
Yeah.
We don't want it to feel like just a setup.
Yeah.
Like,
you've learned. You've learned from some past errors there.
Sometimes some movies and stuff don't feel that way.
So keep that spirit alive moving forward.
That's cool.
Please.
That's cool. I like that.
After the WandaVision finale and after the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale, a lot of the people behind the series, the different producers, talked about trying to create the show in the edit room the same way that they create the Marvel movies. Like they'll shoot a whole bunch of stuff, they'll try a bunch of different things, then they'll try to sew it all together in the edit bay so that it all makes sense. And sometimes that works
exhausting.
better than others.
Sounds
Like,
terrifying.
it doesn't work quite as much on a TV show where you really have to plot everything out pretty carefully in advance. So if you felt like there was some continuity
Unlike
gaps
a
or some
movie.
things on WandaVision didn't make sense, it's because they rewrote a lot of things at the last minute and tried some things that were completely different from their original plan that they had plotted out. But everyone, let me know in the comments, what do you think about all these Doctor Strange deleted scenes that were going to be setting up Doctor Strange 2 and their big crossover moments during the WandaVision episodes? Do you think they made the right call in just deleting all that stuff and just leaving all their big crossover stuff for the actual
I think they should have just made that
movie?
call a little
We're probably
earlier
gonna get that first Doctor Strange
to
trailer
smooth a
in
couple things out.
months. So we wanted to wait too long to see what's going on with that. Cannot wait to see what Sam Raimi did with that movie.
All right, yeah, can't wait to see the trailer either. That was a great video. Damn, a lot of fucking information.
Yeah, man, Doctor Strange was a whole aspect of this show that was then later removed and left for us to just speculate about.
The beginning of there's something with this emergency awesome edit. Usually the countdown's like really easy to follow, but I'm like, wait a minute, the numbers are happening so fast.
What do these correspond to?
Did I like it just had my mind trying to fill in some gaps that I was like, oh, if I just waited a little bit, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they psych you out though, because you're like, oh, should I be keeping track
did
of
I
these
miss
too?
something?
What is the category of things we are numbering, and how should I keep track of them?
Yeah, wow, that was a lot of great information. Damn, yeah. I overall, yeah, I prefer the way they went. I feel like we gave our opinion on it already pretty clear. But yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
Mephisto.
And also watching it again was like, I forgot how great WandaVision is now.
Yeah, man. Now that
show.
we've got like a little bit of a distance from it,
yeah.
Weirdly, even though it doesn't necessarily feel like it in the tandem of just how much Marvel comes out nowadays, but
yeah. All right, guys. Well, subscribe to Emergency Awesome if you haven't done so already. Click that notification bell. Hit that like button. Keep a lookout for when we're covering Loki. And last but not least, gonna shout out today Chris Wamoff. Because Doctor Strange was the one who was helping out behind the scenes in the shadows, and he wasn't asking for any of the spotlight or attention for doing it. And if there's anyone at our Patreon page who's constantly helping out those less fortunate than themselves, it's Chris Wamoff, constantly being a damn good public servant to the world, to the world. Never stop helping people the way you do. And you could start today by increasing your pledge by $150 more.
Help us.
Help us be able to just get an extra editor for like one more thing. That would go a long way. These people on the streets who are just having a really, where you have to like go there and help them like physically be hands-on. What's more rewarding? Helping them or increasing your pledge? I think you know what the answer is, buddy.
Get those perks, those rewards.
By letting us have them, and you just go a little bit less in your wallet.
Become a producer of The Real Rejects.
You won't get the credit title like that. You'll be anonymous.